Like say in terms of songwriting as well, is there something you've discovered about the band as songwriters?
Yeah, this record cycle is actually, I feel like a really big breakthrough for us in terms of songwriting and our approach to it. So the best way to show that is usually for our first two records we wrote maybe like 15 or 16 songs, and for this record we kind of had maybe 3 times that, like 50 songs or something. And the way that we got to that place was, instead of kind of, oh, I have this song, I know it's going to be great, I'm going to slam my head against the wall no matter what, if it comes out. It was much more an idea of follow the energy. If something is exciting, then you just go after that. And then as a result, so Ryan, myself, and Kelsey are the 3 songwriters in the band, and we would kind of really push each other. So that day, Ryan came with Villainy, and then I think I, answered with Sea of Years or Fountain of Youth or something. So there's like a bit of an ego competition that happens where we kind of keep trying to push each other, and that worked really well for us for this album.
Let me ask this then, Ryan. What was something that Taylor brought to the table that you were impressed by?
I mean, there's a few moments on the record, that it's always those moments where I'm like, I never would have thought of that. That's not even in my kind of like wheelhouse or whatever. But I was proud of him because usually, you'll bring a song just on guitar and it'll be like a few chords and like the melodies and stuff. But, Sea of Years, he kind of like jumped on like his laptop and like came up with some production, some like drum stuff. And that was kind of like a new thing from Tay. So it was exciting because it was just again, us trying new things and putting ourselves out there. So yeah, I think that song especially was really cool.
Oh, thanks, man.
And vice versa? And vice versa, because you've known each other for quite a while. Was there something that Ryan surprised you with?
Yeah, well, Villainy is a good one. That definitely kind of kicked it off, and the story with that is, I think Ryan originally thought this is probably not a local native song, but it's a thing that I made that was fun to make. And listening to it, I thought, no, this absolutely should be a local native song. And then we worked on the vocals and all this stuff. Another one, let's see. Yeah, there's a bunch. I think one thing that might be interesting to hear is, Ryan mentioned I usually come with the song and it's kind of just on guitar, and then I'm like, okay, now let's build it out. And Past Lives was a song like that, and I had the song on guitar and kind of the structure laid out and all the melodies, and it was all coming together. And Ryan is really good at, we just threw out the guitar and replaced it with this kind of pulsing low synth, and that made the bed of it, and built out the drums and really kind of shifted production-wise the dynamic of the song. Now I think it's a bit more of kind of this pulsating dance type of rock song.
Right.
And originally it was just kind of me on guitar doing a thing, and that's kind of, to me, like a classic example of a thing that by myself I probably wouldn't be able to come up with. So that was a nice transition for that song.
And then, well, this is the music we're talking about. When do the lyrics come in?
That was a big shift that also, I think, played an important role in us writing so many more songs, is that we put lyric writing on kind of the forefront of making the song. So usually we would procrastinate, and you have some lyrics and some of the main themes of the song, but you always wait till the last second.
Mumbling for a few months.
Just mumbling for months and months. And what happens with that is you get so used to the way that these kind of phonetics and mumbles are in your head that it can put you in this box for the lyrics of the song, and it can really kind of hit this wall sometimes, or it has with us in the past. And this time we said lyrics need to be working and powerful at an early stage, and we really want to focus on that. So that's when Ryan mentioned we took a trip with Kelsey and Ryan and myself to Joshua Tree, and it was just to focus on lyric writing only. And we spent a week there, and that was really helpful because the song has to work lyrically, and putting lyrics on the forefront actually just helped the songs come alive much, much faster. Instead of months down the road, it was, this song has a soul and identity kind of right away.
And were there then certain themes that you wanted to focus on? Well, you went to Joshua Tree, so did certain themes pop up, or certain things you specifically wanted to talk about?
I mean, I think without even trying, I think we were all in like similar places, maybe in our lives.
Okay.
Obviously, we experienced so much of our lives together, so there is this kind of like constant connection, I guess. But we'd gone through all the things we had to go through on Hummingbird, and all the highs, but a lot of the lows. And I think coming out through that and seeing things through this like new perspective and having kind of this new almost like rediscovery of like what gets us excited about being in this band and like making music and just kind of finding this new like excitement and joy. That seemed to crop up a lot in the lyrics, whether directly or indirectly. But then I will say, like, Taylor's always been much more like conceptual with like kind of what we wanted to get across. I think it's not a concept record, but I think there are like themes and stuff. And I know Taylor, especially early on, was like trying to get us to talk about everything and really kind of get us all on the same page with the lyrics.
Right. Yeah. So it's kind of the first time that we did that for this record, and I think that you can see all these threads and commonalities working throughout it. And one of these concepts is this concept that the world is not this concrete fixed thing and you're just born into it and you have to figure it out and find your path. It's actually a thing that if you push on it, then it'll have an impact somewhere. And that's not super obvious, really. It takes a minute to kind of have that realization, and we were really feeling that our world, on a personal level was ours to change, and then also this is the first record that has some lyric themes that are looking outwards, or politically and socially. It's a really, really crazy time right now, and it's up to kind of us and the younger generations, I think, have a better outlook on where the world is supposed to go. That's always how the world progresses. It starts there.
I wrote one lyric down. I think we better listen to these kids.
Right.
So is that what you're talking about? Kind of.
Yeah, exactly.
The political climate as it is now, and.
Yeah, exactly. For Fountain of Youth, and I mean, I know it's worldwide right now. It's not U.S. only at all, but the U.S. is certainly in the middle of a very crazy, presidential election climate right now. And yeah, if you look at even specifically there, like the demographics of where all the youth is falling along, they're much more open-minded. They're much more like want to be connected and unified. It's not the kind of like fear and divisiveness and kind of hate rhetoric thing that feels like it's coming from the other side. So yeah. And then
you've only played the songs a couple times, but have you heard reactions to those lyrics or is it too early?
That song Fountain of Youth is one that I think has kind of had an early reaction, and I think people tend to connect with that song and that maybe that chorus, like particularly, and Coins is another one that people tend to just like immediately kind of connect to.
Finally then, what are your expectations of how the record will do?
It's a good question.
It's a difficult question to answer probably, but I often like to ask, what is your definition of success? So when will the album for you be a success?
9 or 10 million sold.
Yeah. Adele. You want to beat Adele?
Diamond status.
Yeah. This is an interesting concept, because if you've dedicated your life to being in a band, we want it to grow and to continue on. And I think we've just kind of found that for us, it makes the most sense to just focus on the music and playing the live shows. And there's really not much else we can do outside of that. So what we hope is to continue to grow as a band. We want to keep doing this and playing songs. And yeah, I think being a live band is really, really important to us. We've played hundreds and hundreds of shows when we were kids before we ever put out our first record, and we tour a lot, and that's just a very special kind of communication. So for us, it really is about just being able to travel around the world and play with, you know, in front of people and have that kind of interaction back and forth, sharing the music in that way is really important to us. So as long as we're doing that, I think then we're happy.
Okay, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks,
you.
you.
Thank you.
Cool, dude.
Yes.